Overthinking. A Buddhist story on letting go and finding peace. Overthinking is a silent struggle that countless individuals endure on a daily basis. It's like an uninvited guest that overstays its welcome, filling our minds with endless loops of what if, regrets, fears, and imaginary scenarios. These thoughts spin endlessly, often making it difficult to find even a moment of peace. Our minds race, tangled in the web of uncertainties, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and rarely resting in the present moment. But in the teachings of the Buddha, there is a gentle reminder. Even amidst the storm of a restless mind, peace is not only possible, it is already within us, waiting to be uncovered. Today, I want to share a beautiful Buddhist parable about the nature of overthinking and how true calmness arises not from controlling every thought, but from learning the art of letting go. In a quiet and remote monastery nestled deep in the embrace of ancient mountains, there lived a young monk named Tashi. This monastery was a place of silence, reflection, and simplicity, far away from the noise and chaos of the outside world. Tashi had dedicated himself completely to the path of meditation and spiritual discovery. He was deeply curious, always pondering the mysteries of life, seeking deeper understanding, and wrestling with the inner restlessness of his own mind. But despite his efforts and his sincere devotion, Tashi struggled deeply with overthinking. During his daily meditations, when others sat in serene stillness, his mind would burst open like a floodgate, thoughts tumbling, in one after another, refusing to settle. He questioned everything. What is the meaning of life? Am I progressing enough on my spiritual path? What if I never reach enlightenment? What if I'm doing everything wrong? No matter how long he sat in silence, his mind never followed. It churned like a stormy sea, unpredictable and relentless. Frustration crept in, clouding his clarity and making him doubt himself even more. One day, as Tashi sat cross-legged in the monastery's meditation hall, surrounded by stillness yet unable to find it within, he reached a breaking point. His thoughts were a whirlwind, and he could no longer pretend that everything was fine. Noticing the strain on Tashi's face, the wise and compassionate master, Lama Reinen, quietly approached him. His eyes held the calm of someone who had seen countless storms and still found the shore. With a soft smile, the master asked Tashi, "What is troubling your heart today?" Tashi hesitated. For a moment he couldn't find the right words, but eventually, with honesty in his voice, he said, "Master, my mind refuses to be quiet. Every time I try to meditate, I'm bombarded with thoughts, doubts, worries, endless questions. I wonder if I'm on the right path, if I'm doing enough. It feels like my thoughts are a violent ocean, and I'm drowning." The master nodded thoughtfully, absorbing every word. Then he simply said, "Meet me at the stream at dawn tomorrow. Perhaps there you'll find the answers you're searching for." The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, Tashi woke early and followed a winding forest path down to the stream that flowed near the monastery. The air was crisp, and the world was bathed in the soft glow of dawn. Birds had just begun to sing, and the gentle hush of morning felt sacred. As he reached the stream, he saw Lama Reinen standing silently by the water's edge, his presence calm and unshaken. The master motioned for Tashi to come closer. "Tell me, Tashi," the master said, "do you hear the stream?" Tashi listened intently. He could hear it, the soft, steady sound of water flowing over rocks, weaving through roots and fallen leaves. The sound was gentle, almost musical, and it seemed to echo through the trees and into his heart. "Yes, I hear it," he replied. The master nodded. "This stream flows without pause. It moves effortlessly, over stones, around branches, down paths it didn't choose. It never clings, never hesitates, never questions. It just flows." Tashi was quiet, still unsure what the master was trying to show him. "Your mind," Lama Reinen continued, "is like this stream. Thoughts will always flow, just as this water does. But peace isn't found by stopping the stream, it's found by watching it without jumping in. Let your thoughts pass, as this stream does with leaves and twigs. Let them float without trying to catch every one." He then gently instructed Tashi to sit by the stream, close his eyes, and listen. Not to silence, but to the rhythm of the water. Imagine each thought as a leaf gently floating on the surface. Watch them go by. Don't reach out, don't follow, just observe. Tashi obeyed, sitting quietly. He closed his eyes and focused on the gentle murmuring of the stream. He pictured his thoughts as leaves, one by one, floating past. At first, it was difficult. His mind, as always, tried to grab onto certain thoughts. Am I doing this right? What if I can't let go? These questions still rose up, tempting him to engage, but slowly, he began to release the urge to chase them. He began to let the leaves drift naturally. The thoughts were still there, but he no longer felt the need to hold on to them. Slowly, gently, his mind began to settle. Not into perfect silence, but into stillness. When he finally opened his eyes, a gentle peace had settled over him. It was subtle but profound, a sense of spaciousness inside. Lama Rinchen smiled. What did you discover, Tashi? He asked. Tashi replied, I realized that when I stopped fighting my thoughts or trying to control them, they didn't have so much power. I could simply let them pass, and they stopped troubling me. The master nodded, his eyes warm. Yes, Tashi, this is the way. Thoughts come and go like the stream. Or suffering begins when we try to grasp them, question them, or give them weight they don't deserve. Freedom comes when we observe them, without attachment. Then, after a moment, Lama Rinchen said, let me tell you another story. He began to recount the tale of a man much like Tashi who struggled with overthinking. This man had taken a small boat out onto a river one day to meditate. Surrounded by the gentle rocking of the water, he closed his eyes and tried to sink into deep peace. For a while, everything felt perfect. He was alone, focused, and still, but suddenly, bump, something struck his boat. His eyes snapped open, and frustration surged through him. Another boat had collided with his, disturbing his meditation. Anger rose quickly. Who dares disturb my peace? He shouted. Who is so careless? He paddled closer to confront the intruder, only to discover that the other boat was completely empty. It had drifted aimlessly, guided only by the current. In that moment, something shifted in the man's heart. He realized the disturbance hadn't come from outside. It had come from within. There was no one to blame. The situation was neutral, but his thoughts had painted it with meaning, creating anger where there was none. Tashi listened deeply, seeing himself in the story. Lama Rinchen looked at him and said, so many of our thoughts are like empty boats. They bump into us, and we react, angry, anxious, upset. But often there's nothing behind them, they're just thoughts. They only gain power when we assign them meaning. Tashi nodded, recognizing how often he had turned small thoughts into storms. A passing glance, a casual remark, he would build stories around them, imagining the worst. But like the empty boat, those stories were often baseless. To help Tashi further, Lama Rinchen offered a simple daily practice. Each day, he said, spend a few quiet minutes just observing your thoughts. See them as clouds drifting across the sky. Let them pass. If you find yourself holding on to one, gently say to yourself, this is just a thought, it will pass. Remember, he added, just as the stream flows without clinging to each leaf, and the boat drifted by without meaning, so too can you let go of each thought. Over time, you will discover that you can observe your mind without being trapped in it. And so, day by day, Tashi practiced. Whenever his thoughts became overwhelming, he returned to the stream. He sat, listened, and imagined each worry as a leaf. He reminded himself of the empty boat, and slowly, steadily, he learned to let go. Weeks later, with a calm smile on his face, Tashi approached his master. I understand now, he said. Thoughts only have power when I grasp them. When I let them pass, they lose their weight. Lama Rinchen smiled with pride and peace. Yes, Tashi, that is the essence of inner freedom. Overthinking is only a habit, and like all habits, it can be changed. When we see our thoughts for what they truly are, passing events, not truths, we are no longer their prisoner. Tashi's journey is a reflection of what so many of us go through. Overthinking may be a common struggle, but Buddhist wisdom offers a path forward. By watching our thoughts without attachment, by remembering the empty boat, and by letting each worry float by like leaves in a stream, we too can find peace. The journey may take time. It requires practice, patience, and compassion for ourselves. But the peace that lies on the other side is worth it. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart and you wish to explore more timeless Buddhist teachings, consider subscribing to our channel. May you find peace, clarity, and freedom from the weight of overthinking.